Mid-majors are always a staple of college basketball. Every year, whether in the regular season or tournament, there's usually a David that proves they deserve to play with the Goliaths of the basketball world. And with each mid-major David, they usually have one pretty big stone to cast. That stone comes in the form of a player overlooked by many, yet proves to everyone he belongs on the big stage. There are a number of examples of these types of players every year, and today we're going to take a deeper dive at one player that is starting to show the whole nation that he deserves to play with the Goliaths. Tevin Brown. Brown is a 6'5", 23-year-old junior shooting guard for the Murray State Racers. With Brown and Murray running through the OVC competition and putting up notable figures versus elite talent, you have to consider this kid may have what it takes to make an impact at the next level. So let's see what he brings to the table. One clip of Tevin Brown's highlight reel and you'll quickly say to yourself,
he not only plays, he can shoot too.
Shooting 40% from three over his career, Tevin has become a certified deadeye from deep. Quality three-point shooters are found all over today's basketball landscape, but I believe Tevin separates himself by what three-point shots he's taking. Many star players in college, especially at the mid-major level, are very ball dominant, and they tend to struggle when they turn pro when they need to create offense without the ball in their hands. Brown's freshman year, he played next to Ja Morant, obviously a very ball-dominant player for the Racers at the time. Alongside Ja, Brown was used to spread the floor, as 33% of his offense came from spotting up. Now fast forward to this season, and Tevin has progressed his game to mainly come off screens to score. He's finding creative ways to put himself in position to score without having the ball in his hands 100% of the time. This evolution sets up Tevin perfectly for the next level. NBA teams could use Tevin as a Duncan Robinson type of shooter, someone that is able to spot up as well as come off screens to finish plays. In my eyes, if I'm an NBA team, these skills are what will pique my interest the most. Wing shooters with Brown's size are always sought after in today's NBA, and to have a premier shooter with good size that also has experience playing alongside NBA level talent, you don't find that often. While there is plenty to love about Tevin's game, there are areas that need development. I wanted to start off and address the age-old issue with players like Tevin, and that is age. Yes, he is 23 years old, and yes, that is older for a prospect. But lately that has not really been an issue for win-now teams in the NBA. The rebuilding teams are going to take younger players that are more boom or bust prospects, that's correct. But for teams that are looking to win now, they are willing to take an older player to have someone that can contribute right now. Look at the Grizzlies, for example. A couple years back, they took Desmond Bane as the 30th pick overall, and he is now a key contributor on their very successful season. Yes, Tevin will not be at the top of boards because of his age, but his age does not mean he will not be a contributor or he won't get drafted or anything like that. Rant over about age. Now on to his main weaknesses that I see. Brown has potential to be a great 3-and-D player in the NBA, but right now he's a lot more 3 than D.
That's what she said.
At times, Tevin can be lost on the defensive end or just straight up get blown by. Although he isn't going to be your lockdown defender on a team, I do believe he has potential to be at least serviceable, maybe even a great defender down the road. His defensive rating has improved every year in college, and he has a 6'10" wingspan that has helped him average a little under a steal and a half a game this year. Brown definitely has some things to work on the defensive end. He's not going to be the Lou Dort on your team, but he should be able to hold his own and improve as his career goes along. We've mentioned Brown's size and wingspan a little bit, but I do want to take note on his weight and strength. Brown is listed at 180 pounds. For comparison, the average NBA shooting guard in 2019 was 6'5", same height as Brown. But that average NBA shooting guard was 25 pounds heavier than Tevin, sitting at 205 pounds.
That's a thick-ass boy!
On offense, this doesn't seem to affect him a whole lot, but it could bring trouble on the defensive end when facing stronger guards or having to switch on forwards. Countless number of players add muscle and weight once they're in the league and at NBA facilities dealing with their trainers. So if in a few years Tevin is closer to 200 pounds, this will be my shock face. Regardless, even if Tevin doesn't add muscle, skinnier players have had success even outside the basketball realm lately. He can definitely still prosper at the next level. But in my opinion, to really help himself on defense and just in general, he should add a few pounds and work on getting stronger. Player comparisons can become outrageous and unfair at times. Example 1.
To work on his defense, but offensively, he's big time.
I'm going old school here. My comparison is Drazen Petrovic, a knockdown shooter, 1 or 2 dribbles or standstill, and also plays in half in full court.
And a touch of Manu, too. Young Manu. Remember when Manu came in on the Spurs, just came in with an attitude, a little bit fearless, always an irrational confidence guy offensively. And I like this pick for them.
So instead of pulling an ESPN, we're going to keep this reasonable and rational. I mean, for real, look how bad this is.
An athlete and can really get to the rim, but shoots only 26% on jumpers.
I got to say, I didn't watch a lot of Louisiana Lafayette this year, but on YouTube, reminded me of young GP, which is funny because they have the last name, Jalen.
And the thing I loved about Gary Payton is he made himself into a player. And he intimidated you on the defensive end. And he turned that into offense and became a Hall of Famer.
And GP, questions about him going when he went into the NBA, his outside shot, and everyone knew he was super competitive, great defender. So very similar.
I wanted to find a player like Tevin that is mainly utilized as a shooter, but more importantly, I wanted to find someone that followed a similar path to what Tevin will have to take. And the player I chose is Damian Lee. In my eyes, Tevin's peak role in the NBA will be to come off the bench and provide offense to the second unit in a limited capacity. And that's exactly what Lee does. Looking at him for the Warriors this season, he is averaging around 20 minutes and 6 shots per game, while shooting around 38% from deep. Lee, like Tevin, was a high-volume shooter and scorer in college, but they will neither have that role in the NBA. As proved from Damian Lee getting 77% of his offense from spot-up shots this season. Like I mentioned before, I wanted a player that had a similar path to what Tevin might take. Damian Lee went undrafted in 2016 and hopped around the G League and some NBA teams before finally finding his right fit and role on the Warriors. I also don't think it hurt that he married Steph Curry's sister during that time, so marrying a superstar's sister might be something that Tevin looks into. Based on recent mock drafts, Tevin may be looking at the same undrafted path that Lee took, which makes things definitely harder, but not completely impossible. With players in Brown and Lee's position coming out of college, it comes down to finding the right fit and which team can utilize your strengths the most. And I believe this will be the most important step for Tevin to become successful in the NBA. Like LeBron James says, you gotta either fit in or fit out. So Tevin just needs to find his home and his role, just like Lee has. I'll be honest, I've been having trouble writing these last final notes on Tevin Brown. There are just so many variables that I keep coming back to and thinking about. Will he be drafted or not? Or even go to the draft this year? Will he be able to adjust to his new role? What team does he fit best with? And most importantly, what hairstyle will he use at the next level? These are the questions that keep me up at night. The one thing I do know though is there are a lot of chapters left in the story of Tevin Brown. There might be some difficult and complicated parts of the story coming up, but the only person that will be able to control the ending is Tevin himself. There have been plenty of players in NBA history that are in very similar situations to what Tevin's in right now. Some have succeeded, some have failed. I guess the only option we have is to sit back and let Tevin show us whether this David belongs to play with the Goliaths. Let me know what you think.